Hi, I'm Brooke.
And I'm Emily.
And welcome to the PAWSE. Here's what you missed.
Wellness Week was last week.
A big thank you to ASB for putting together so many stress-relieving activities.
Personally, I really enjoyed the art drawing activity that we did all together as a team. Together, like all of us did it together.
I think we all enjoyed that, Emily.
In all seriousness, last week was something that we all really needed.
But we also know that sometimes fun distractions aren't enough.
If you or someone you know needs help, here are some resources to look into or call.
During quarantine, something that I found that really helps my personal mental health is picking up new hobbies.
Me too!
Really? What's your hobby, Emily?
Brooke, I am glad you asked. As you can tell by my very exciting and surprising entrance, I'm very excited to talk about my quarantine hobby, and it is taking care of plants, or just like having a little bit of a green thumb recently. I don't know, call it what you want, but I'm here to introduce you guys to my plant, Charlotte. That's not important. What's important is the part of her that is still alive, which I'm very, very proud of. Charlotte is an African violet that was gifted to me by my sister. And, you know, even though part of her may not be what society calls beautiful or alive, I don't care. Because Charlotte keeps me company. When I wake up in the morning, I see her and I just think, wow, you are so awesome. So this is my quarantine hobby, plants.
Wow. Yeah, those plants looked great, Em. Consider me impressed.
Thank you. What about you, Brooke? What are you doing to stay occupied?
Well, Emily, I don't do it so much anymore, but at the start of quarantine, I did what everyone else was doing. Baking! To show off my newly gained baking expertise, today I will be making classic chocolate chip cookies from scratch. Okay, now I couldn't show my whole process, otherwise this would be far too long. But one thing I do want to say, apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. That is the secret formula. Don't tell Plankton. Oh yeah, they're cats. 10 out of 10. Giving myself a pat on the back.
That was just mean. Throwing all of those cookies right in our faces like that.
They were delicious.
Anyways, let's see what the rest of our team has been up to.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Nathan, and I'm gonna be sharing my quarantine hobbies with you. Like, see what I've been doing during my quarantine. Alright, let's get started.
So, my quarantine hobbies have been a little different than a lot of other ones. Mine evolved around this little guy. Sit. Speak. High five. Sit. Catch. Good boy. Good boy.
Since we've explored the quarantine hobbies of our crew, let's send Tyrone out into the field to see what hobbies our teachers have adopted.
Hey guys, we're back yet again interviewing teachers this week. What is a hobby that they picked up so far during these months that we've been in quarantine? So let's get to it.
I am Mr. McCluckey, or John McCluckey, and I recently, since this last March, got into some fun running. I know everyone kind of looks at me like, oh, running? Are you serious? Mr. Yip got me into it. I actually got really into it, which I'm kind of shocked with myself, because running used to be a punishment, not a joy.
So introduce yourself and tell us a hobby that you've discovered over the quarantine.
Well, my name is Mr. Waters. I teach Introduction to Computers and Technology. I have several hobbies, and the most recent one that I've started to indulge is furniture building, and I started building custom croquet mallets, and then that forayed into the girls wanting me to build them a barn door, which I did, and then ultimately I built this console table that my wife, it's like not almost, it's a little over 8 feet long. My wife wanted something for this specific area in our house, and I made it in about 2 days.
If you'd like to introduce yourself to everybody watching and then describe the hobby that you picked up over the quarantine season.
All right, so I am Mrs. Castasola, insect enthusiast. Love insects. And so the hobby I picked up actually over quarantine was raising monarch butterflies.
And how does one discover this, right?
So I've always loved insects, and I've always wanted to start raising butterflies. And one of the things you need here in Southern California to raise butterflies is a plant called milkweed. And once you start growing milkweeds, the butterflies will just naturally come, lay their eggs, and as soon as you know it, they've eaten your whole plant. It's great.
Wow. So seems you've been keeping occupied.
I'm Miss Baumgartner. The hobby that I picked up again was barrel racing. So I used to barrel race a long time ago, and since the quarantine, everything was shut down. I had nothing better to do than try my hand at barrel racing again with my horse, Bandit. So we're a little slower than usual, but we still had fun practicing and honing in our circles. Yeah.
My name's Jeff Bird. I'm the band director at Bonita High School. During the pandemic, to kind of manage my time, I have been working on model making, specifically spacecraft from science fiction television shows and movies. Something that calms me down, keeps me focused, and passes the time really well.
Wow, that's an impressive one. You kept busy, huh?
Well, of course. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Godley, teaching math and doing the coaching thing. You know, when quarantine hit, obviously I had a lot more time on my hands, and so I kind of like to pick up books here and there in general, but I really just started, you know what, it's rather than putz around the house trying to figure out what to do, I'm like, let's go back into reading and, you know, let's read some things you like. And like I was just mentioning, my daughter gives me grief because I don't like to read fiction, but I like books that involve things I like to think about, whether it's leadership or, you know, sports or even teaching, believe it or not. So, I mean, I read this book, It's Your Ship. It's a real good book by a captain who did use some unconventional techniques. Feel like this is a book report. I read Al Michaels' book. I read Scott Pelley's book. I like the biography stuff. Sort of autobiographical though. And then that's, you know, as I said, I'm reading now, like How Champions Think. This is a real good book. And then The Boys in the Boat, I started that one too. So,
all right. Yeah.
The other one I got, I didn't bring a copy of, but when I don't like reading something that's really serious, I read Dave Barry. He's a humorist, and I find the guy just super hilarious. So anyway, those are the things that I've kind of been doing and reading.
Either way, it seems you've been occupied this past couple months. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so I'm Mr. West. I teach math, accelerating and integrated 3, calculus, and calc BC. And my hobby that I picked up was, I guess Mr. Eichen phrased it as farming. So it's a combination of things. So first, I'll show you, I actually got chickens. So I have, yeah, no joke. So I built a little chicken coop. I got these guys from a mail system from South Carolina, and they showed up as chick. And now they are full grown and should be laying eggs soon.
Wow.
Yeah, come on out, run around. But then the other thing is started a little farm. I think there's like sage and thyme as oregano back there. This is arugula. This was my zucchini was giant, but it's pretty much out of season now. This is me trying to grow some spaghetti squash, but that's out of season. This bed will be prepared once summer hits again. And then there's some cauliflower or Brussels sprouts and other things. But I grew squash, I grew zucchini, I had tons of peppers, basil, all kinds of stuff. That's the basil plant is pretty much dead at this point.
Wow.
So yeah.
It seems that they've been keeping pretty busy so far, right? And looking how things are going, they're going to have to keep on cultivating those skills. So either way, back to you, Brooke and Emily.
It's nice to see that the teachers have found some pretty cool hobbies.
Yeah, Mr. Bird's model building was really impressive.
Yeah, so were Mr. West's plants.
What?
Well, that concludes this week's episode of The PAWSE.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The PAWSE and on Instagram at the.pause.
Now for Mullen's Conspiracy Theory of the Week.
Over to you, Mullen.
Hello, and welcome to Mullen's Conspiracy Theories. You know, with everything shut down because of COVID, I got to thinking, I've picked up a bunch of new hobbies since COVID. For example, I can juggle flaming torches now, which got me thinking, who really started COVID? And I have a simple answer. The big juggling companies. That way, people will buy more stuff to make them more profits. Think about it. Think about it.
Thanks, pause. Cool. Good.
We're grand.
Good. So, Jeff. Hi, how we doing?
Oh, Jeff here. Hi, Mr. Bird. Long time no see.
Well,
Yeah, good to see you, man. All right, I'll leave you guys to it. Have fun talking about
Tim gave us a tour of his garden.
garden and chicken. All right.
Hey Bearcats, Mr. Yip here. My new hobby is to steal from Mr. West. So let's see what I can find in his garden. Alright, so let's check this out. Not bad tonight. I scored some potatoes and cucumbers. We'll come back next week and see what we can get. See you guys.